Hello everyone, and welcome to the Happiness Playbook. I'm Michael, and as you can see if you're watching from YouTube, I'm not in the regular studio space. And the reason for that is because as I was recording earlier this week, I was going through the body of the text and I realized that I wasn't really saying what I wanted to say about the topic. So I'm re-recording it today. But what we are going to do is we are going to show you the intro because that was a lot of fun, and the team huddle, that all went really well. And then we're going to switch back to this for all of the body of the text. So here is the intro and the team huddle. Adults have decided that play is no longer a reasonable activity. They avoid, reject, and even rebel against play, all in the name of growing up. Who told them to do this? Why do they accept this philosophy? What does it mean to grow up? Let's discuss all this and more in today's episode of the Happiness Playbook. Hello everyone, and welcome to the Happiness Playbook. I am your host and play theory coach, Michael Anderson. On this podcast, I'll be commenting on life through the paradigm of play theory, a mindset consisting of 4 principles: be present, let go and play, accept and build, and look outward. Play theory has been observed here and practiced in our community for over 20 years. I have been practicing it for 14 years, and I teach these life principles to all ages every single day. As you practice play theory consistently in your life, you'll cultivate a mindset and tools needed to experience lifelong joy, because happiness is a skill, and skills take practice. And before we get into the rest of our video, I would like you to take a moment to like and subscribe. And if you would, on your other podcast platforms, please also follow and subscribe wherever you're listening. We appreciate you being here so much. It helps us out a lot. And that like and that subscribe and even a comment occasionally will really help us get our feet on the ground. Now let's get into our team huddle. Last week we talked about be present, which means to attend to the moment, breathe and listen, and expand awareness. We talked about this in the scope of focus, which was part of our challenge, was to see how you could do in your situations, whether you were trying to be in a place where you could play with your kids or something like that, and have a more aware experience. We also talked about what was your thought about what is happiness. We wanted to know what is happiness, and we got some comments. So I want to read that for you really quick. Once again, if you leave a comment with us, there's a good chance that you will be read on the podcast. So here's one from Kiana Anderson. It says, I think happiness is a feeling that can only be enjoyed or noticed when you are present in the moment. Like all of circumstances can be set up for happiness, i.e. a beautiful sunset, a hug from a loved one, the smell of rain. But if you are too worried about something else to notice, the opportunity to experience happiness will pass by you. Love that from whoever Kiana Anderson is, my wife. Another comment from Laurie Florence. She was on with us. She's the founder of the program. You see all the love. It's community here. She said, I think one form of happiness is congruency with your core values. It's not about ease or pleasure. People can be happy people can be happy doing a Tough Mudder, brutal race. Others, in the midst of partaking in pleasure, such as fulfilling an addictive desire, aren't happy. How true that is. I mean, yeah, why do people sign up for a Tough Mudder if it's so tough, right? But you can be happy doing that because you've prepared for it. You've done things. You've been present in some moments while you were trying to prepare for that. But an addictive desire, typically that means you're not super happy. That's something that is happening to you, or it's something that you choose in various circumstances that may cause you not to be happy, right? It causes you to be less present. It creates worry and fear and regret. So wonderful comments. Thank you so much for those. Once again, if you want a chance to be showcased on the Happiness Playbook, please be sure to leave a comment below, and or wherever you're able to leave a comment for us. We would love to see that, and we will read possibly what you say to us. Okay, let's get into the bulk of what we're doing today. Today, I want to talk to adults about their attitudes and behaviors towards play. Why is it so difficult for adults to play? Today's principle is let go and play, which means to recognize that mistakes are opportunities to learn, to leave your ego at the door, and to have fun. Though our discussion is focused on adults today, I want you to know that I will always keep this a family-friendly podcast. Part of that being said is that I will let you know if I'm going to be approaching harder topics. We will be talking about the words maturity and adult content, but we're not going to be doing that in a light of the world. We're going to be making references to those worlds and talking about to those words, I apologize, and talking about how beautiful I think the word maturity actually is. So that's going to be where we're going today. So we're going to keep it family friendly for all of you. So for the adults out there, think back to the last time that you played on a playground and you took it seriously. Now, for those of us with kids, maybe that was actually fairly recent, and that's an okay thing. Actually, I know it's really fun. We have this big, massive playground near where I live, and I love seeing the parents going and helping their kids go down the slide, and I think they're really having a fun time actually being in the moment and experiencing play. So that's a really cool thing to see. But how old were you when you were growing up? Maybe I'm thinking, maybe you're getting into high school, maybe even in the middle of middle school where you were playing on a playground. And around that time, someone said, it's time to grow up. What did that mean to you? How old were you? At some point, we were all told it's time to grow up. It's time to mature, either by our peers, either by an adult. I don't want to necessarily put all the blame on the adults because I know that I would be playing a game of pretend, and then one of my friends would be like, "Oh, that's for little kids, man," right? And so then you're like, "Well, what am I supposed to do?" Right? So and I would say that for some of us, we just stopped playing altogether, or we were resisting play. And I want to talk about that today. I want to talk about where that happened. I was talking to my producer, Johnny, this week, and we were talking about, when that happened for us. And he said, when I was 14, 15, that's just kind of when I stopped playing. I was like, stopped? Like altogether? And he's like, yeah. It was time for school. I like school, so I think maybe he was finding ways to play in different ways. But, play doesn't stop altogether, of course. But I think it could be greatly hindered because of this idea that we need to grow up. But when we say grow up to a kid, do we know what that means? Is it because we want them to stop bothering us so much? Or, what's the reason behind saying this? And do we know what we're trying to convey there? I want you to think about yourself in your own life. And I want you to think about your own happiness. Are you happy because of how much you work? Because of the movies you're now allowed to watch? Because you can eat fast food whenever you want? Are you happy because of those things? Because I feel like that's what the world is telling us, that's what becoming an adult is. Right? Or whatever you're allowed to drink, or, we could add on to that list. There's things adults are allowed to do, and there's things that kids are allowed to do. And this leads to the idea, I think, the ideology behind adult content. What is something that an adult is allowed to do? And now I want you to think about that phrase for a little bit. Adult content. Okay? So we have this phrase. So that says, this is content that adults are allowed to watch or be a part of. So what does that say about adults in society? What does that say about our expectations for adults in society? Especially to kids when they find out, and this is the world we live in, guys. They come across these tags on social media. They come across something that says adult content. What does that tell us about adults? So we need to be very careful of this. But I think that a lot of this goes back to play. We start to paint these pictures like adults are not allowed to play. If they play, they're creepy or weird or whatever. Now, I'm not saying that it's time for all the adults to go back and start using the playground. The playgrounds weren't built for that, right? I'm sure that we would be doing more repairs on slides and things because we're just bigger. We're not meant for all of these things. But what I am trying to get at is that we need to find constructive ways for us to play. Now think about this. Do you feel like you're happy in your life? For those who feel like they're happy, right? Because not all of us are unhappy. But for those of us who feel like we are happy, why is that the case? Is it because we engage with others? We're able to look at someone in the eye and have a real conversation? Are there fun opportunities that we take advantage of? Does it have to involve money? I think that's a really good question because most people you talk to, they can't have fun unless they're buying that ticket to a concert or going out to eat or something. But I want to do this. I'm going to show you a clip of something I saw on CBS. This was actually sent to me. And it's about adults finding ways to play that cost no money at all. It's wonderful. It's called Stick Nation. Let's take a look.
Sticks are ordinary. You can find them just about anywhere you go walking. But sticks have been a powerful source of strength for millions of people, and now they're part of a popular trend online. The group calls themselves Stick Nation, and they say their passion is all about recapturing childhood. Longtime friends and Utah natives Logan Juggler and Boone Hogue are the duo behind the account.
We were just up on a hike, and we came across some sticks down in Moab, Utah, and then we kind of just started building off of that.
Yeah, it was a real natural thing, built out of friendship, and then just kind of the joy and wonder of when you're a kid and you find a cool stick.
Nice slight bend.
I just pulled out my phone and we filmed a quick review because we were just like, this is so funny.
Give a solid 5 out of 10. Thanks for sticking around.
And then I made the page that same night.
Hello, Stick Nation.
Necklace.
Trident.
Look at it. Sit on it. What's this?
This is my stick with my chick.
Now, 2 years later, they've received tens of thousands of stick review videos from 120 countries and every continent.
Find here in Uganda.
And from celebrities like Lin-Manuel Miranda,
and we found this sticking out of the ground.
Olivia Wilde,
Pretty tip-top shape for a walking stick.
and Rainn Wilson.
It tastes sticky.
People just from any corner of the world find joy in simple things. Anyone can see whatever they want in it. It could be a lightsaber, it could be a sword, it could be a scepter, but really what you're finding is just imagination and joy.
I love that they're finding ways to see the stick in a new light. They find a way to play, and it's constructive. And there's a whole community behind it. It's like this is a real thing. There's actually a big community that gets together and they rate their sticks and they say how they could use their stick. And it's fun. It's really, really cool thing to do. So anyway, I wanted to show you that. I thought that was cool because adults can have fun. And if you watch that video, you're probably thinking, oh, I like to collect sticks and rocks, right? That's kind of fun. Like when you're on the beach, you're like, I'm kind of looking for like a cool rock to take home. Why? I don't know. Because it's cool and it's fun. I also like the idea that like that might kind of give you some ideas, right? You're like, oh, maybe I enjoy playing board games, or I have already purchased this video game that I like playing with family and friends, or something like that, right? Like my wife and I, we find a lot of ways to do this with our family, and it's so much fun. We do family experiences that don't require a lot of money. One of them is like going on a walk, right? And when you go on a walk, you can experience the joy of that journey. And that's kind of what I wanted to get into next is that play doesn't necessarily have to be an end, right? It's like there's also this mentality. So with growing up, you get to a point where you want to have a house. You want to have lots of money. You want to have lots of friends. You want to have all of these things. And once you get there, you'll be happy, right? Well, I think that is part of the journey. Now, I think it's great to want to have a house, to want to own a house, and to get on that journey. I don't own a house yet, but once I do, I think I know well enough that that's not the end, right? Because a house comes with problems as well. Like I have to fix things on my own, right? But I think that wanting that and moving towards that is a journey. And the journey is actually a lot of fun. It also is not fun at sometimes. You get the good and the bad. So I want to read this quote from Dr. Peter Gray. It says, play is activity that from the conscious perspective of the player is done for its own sake more than for some reward outside of the activity itself. In other words, it is behavior in which means are more valued than ends. Wow. Dr. Peter Gray is really, really awesome. He studies play, especially in development of kids. It's done for its own sake more than for some reward outside of the activity itself. When was the last time that you did that? Let's think about this. Like if you're a guy who likes to plan a trip or something, like go camping or whatever, I find that I have a lot of joy in that process. I'm going on Amazon. I'm like looking for little things. I'm trying to find a cheap option for for a problem I had on my last trip. And I'm having fun packing. I'm going through my gear. I'm cleaning it. Like that's work, right? But it's so much fun to be a part of that journey. Now, let's say maybe something relating to women a little bit better is, you've got, you're taking the kids to the park or something. I don't want to say something that's for all women, but this is something, at least for my wife, that I think she experiences a lot of joy in, is when she takes the kids to the park. The park is the end goal, right? But she has so much joy in the journey. I have a hard time sometimes when we're on our way to the park. I'm like, let's just get there, right? But she has so much joy in the journey. She's like, well, Coleman just wanted to stop and like start digging in the dirt on the side. I'm like, yeah. Like why? Like this is the playground. This is the playground all the way. Life is the playground. So let's move on here. Let's talk a little bit about maturity. A little bit more about adult content growing up. I wanted to share this example. This is something I thought of as I was driving down the road in Lincoln. This was pretty close by to me. There's these beautiful trees, but it used to not always be that way because it was a very new community. You could look it up online for a while. It was the fastest growing city in the United States. And there were all these young trees I remember kind of growing up there. But driving down recently, I noticed these trees had gotten taller. They were becoming more mature. And trees grow in maturity, but they also experience sun, rain, and wind. They experience hardship. Those can all be harsh, but they're also beautiful to a tree. And they do both, in fact. The tree needs hard forces for it to become stronger, right? If it didn't have sun, rain, or wind, right, an indoor tree, like it just kind of would stunt its growth. It would just kind of be the way it is, and it's very easy to knock it over or pull it straight out of the soil. But with the rain, it plants its roots even stronger. Now I looked at these trees and I thought they're so beautiful, but they're beautiful to me because they're mature. They have grown through experience. And it's beautiful to me that they've been there for a while. Once again, maturity is one of those words that in the world, and you might hear me saying this kind of sounds a lot like, Christian ideology. It kind of is. That's where I come from. But still, at large, the world says maturity is inappropriate content. I mean, seriously, don't look these words up online. They cause problems for us in society because we've said maturity means something that is gross. But think about that. Isn't that really immaturity? That has nothing to do with maturity at all. I know that there's actually different countries that look at it this way. I think that in various Asian cultures, they look at maturity in this way. They say, this content is stuff that you have to grow out of. Now, I don't necessarily agree with that, but I agree with the idea that it's immature. This is immature content, right? It's gross content. And we need to start changing the way that we look at this. Maturity is a beautiful thing. When you're actually mature, when you're actually an adult, you are no longer childish. It's childish activity, right? Versus childlike. Childlike is what we want to be more like, right? But here's the cool thing. Because we're an adult, we have more experience with play than our kids. And we have the superpower that we can do this. So let's do this. Let's engage with play. Talking about the tree example, I love this quote. This is from Albert Einstein. It says, "The environment is everything that isn't me." We are always going to have hard forces in life. We're always going to have this journey to go through. But guess what? We're going to be okay. We're going to be okay in this process because those things will build us up. And we don't have to let anything in the world say that we are not going to play. So let's talk for a little bit as we close things out here. What is let go and play? What do you have to let go of? What does it mean to let go? We talked a lot about play, but what's that let go part? What's holding us back? I think there's some emotions with like pride, fear, scarcity, right? Like I want to, if you win, I lose. We have our social status, socioeconomic status. What does this mean for my friend group? What does this mean for me? No, I'm supposed to work all the time, right? So if I play too hard, I can't work. But you're less effective at work anyway. You're already struggling with this stuff, right? You're having a hard time sitting at your computer for 9 hours a day. So you need to let go of something and engage in real play. And I want to add to the definition of play. Play is an experience where everybody is having fun. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that in more episodes to come about, maybe what are some imposters to play? Because there's imposters. But what you need to focus on right now is you need to let go of something. And then you need to play for real. Everyone has fun. So here's the challenge. This is the play of the week. Find a moment when someone is trying to engage in play. Yes, maybe your child. Maybe it's your friend, right? Peers can have fun. I have fun with my friends. Even some of my friends from high school, we still get together and have fun. And when someone is trying to engage in play, make the decision to let go of whatever it is. I'm tired. I'm fearful. I'm prideful. Whatever it is. It's not going to be fun. You're going to tell yourself all these stories, right? So let go of those stories and engage in play. And please comment on your experience below to benefit others and for a chance to be featured/quoted. I mean, these quotes today, weren't they fantastic? Do that to be featured on next week's episode of the Happiness Playbook. And remember that play theory is a practice for a happier life. And that's what the Happiness Playbook is all about, is helping you in your happiness practice. We'll see you next week.